Hey, what is good, you guys? Arnold here. And UFC Freedom 250 was absolutely mental. The fights were on point. There were virtually no disappointments. I won't say there were none, but I'll get to that in a minute. So let me lead with this. Chasing greatness is, it's one of those things that carry a lot of risk. And, some nights create legends. And at times, it just shows you how difficult greatness is to really achieve. I'll get to my points in a second. But guys, let me just tell you guys what was absolutely amazing. The production was great. The White House looked fantastic. It's pretty much what you would have expected from such a star-studded event in terms of, the hype and the history behind America's birthday and all of that. So, but yeah, let's open with this. The story of UFC Freedom 250 was essentially about two people who chased greatness, and unfortunately, neither one of them got to it. It was Alex Pereira moving up to heavyweight, trying to become a three-division champion, taking on Cyril Gane, and unfortunately, he was not successful. He got dispatched in round 2 via TKO. But god damn it, how many fouls does Cyril Gane need to commit in a fight? Not being content with just eye-poking someone, I can literally almost count 10 unanswered shots to the back of the head as Alex Pereira was trying to go in for a scramble. Now, given, I know that Alex Pereira was out on his feet and he would have most likely have not won that fight, but still, Gane could not help himself and he just smashed away at his head. And some people, die from their injuries when a person were to hit the back of the head. Now leave it for Cyril to just go in and blast away with like 10 or so shots. It's crazy. But the fight itself, I think that Alex Pereira looked a little bit tentative in there. Maybe it's a case of going up to heavyweight, or it was just a matter of figuring out his opponent, who is also an accomplished kickboxer in his own right. So, yeah, that was not going to be Alex's night, unfortunately. And I was rooting for the guy. But the main event that followed, Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje, man, I still couldn't believe it. So, a lot of people will probably give Ilia flack for his performance against Justin. But there's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of, because Ilia took Justin all the way to the 5th round. And unfortunately, Ilia could not answer the 5th because he was a bloody mess. Justin proved why he is among one of the lightweight greats. Just the way he pummeled Ilia, and Ilia could not put him down. So, was it a case maybe of, going up to lightweight and at featherweight not translating well with regards to the punches? Were the punches a little bit soft? Or is Justin just so durable? You guys can tell me in the comments below what you rate. But here's the thing. What I saw tonight, there were no losers in that main event. Absolutely none. Of course, Ilia lost the fight, but the grit and the fortitude that he showed in that fight was absolutely amazing. And I'm very proud of him. He was bloodied up. There was a point in the second round where he was just obliterating Justin Gaethje in the ribs, and he was like going for a pop, 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 and Justin just hung in there. So it shows, with that experience, that grit, and that fortitude, it can really elevate your game and take you to the winning post, if you will. Now, does Ilia Topuria come back from this? I don't know. Sometimes when you build yourself up to such an extent, it does become difficult to reclaim that status, because now you've already been shown as beatable. You know what I mean? Think of Khamzat. Khamzat was unstoppable. And then Sean Strickland came along. He was durable. He withstood the storm. And he persevered and he got rid of Khamzat. So he beat Khamzat in that match. So maybe the same happens with Ilia. I believe obviously Khamzat would still compete, but with Ilia, man, I don't know. I think his pride and his ego might not allow him to compete again. Certainly maybe not at lightweight. Would he be going down back to featherweight? It all remains to be seen. But man, the guy can scrap. The ref almost called it off prior to the beginning of the 4th round. And Ilia was, of course, in warrior mode and said no ways, he's going to continue. And if you watched that fight, you could have seen that Ilia's eyes were swollen shut. And during that 4th round, he just took even more punishment to the face. So hats off to him, man. With regards to the fights itself, leading up to it, the co-main and the main event, I feel that the fights were kind of lopsided in a sense that, you'd find that the favorites to win actually won their fights, easily. The majority of the fights ending up in the first round. Okay, so we had the opener with Steve Garcia and Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez got him out, I think it was second round TKO. Yeah, so that was a good fight. Proud of Diego. Diego did well. Maybe what's next for him? Maybe they're going to have a trilogy fight. I don't know. But if we have a look at the UFC Freedom card. Sorry, guys. I just need to... I have been awake since 2 in the morning. It is currently 7:27 and I'm running on fumes. So all I have with me is pretty much my trusty bottle of water, which I need a sip of. And then, yeah. So it was Bo Nickel and Carl Dorcas. Bo also went in there. Nice punches. Boop, boop, dispatched of Dorcas by TKO. Rafi and Chandler, I don't want to be ugly, guys, but Michael Chandler should not be fighting at this level anymore because guy has turned into a punching bag. Because you would get the Chandler of old who made the fights exciting and was up for a scrap. In this fight, he was just completely outclassed. Outclassed in the grappling, outclassed on the feet, and he succumbed to a TKO victory, to Rafi as well. So if you guys ever wondered what Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler would have looked like, just think of this. But I believe Conor would have dispatched Michael Chandler a lot sooner. So there's that. Yeah, but otherwise, leading up to it, the pacing felt a little bit weird. Felt like, it was very fast-paced. Go from match to match. And don't even get me started on these video packages that they were having. The AI slop that the UFC has ingrained within their product is crazy. Like, I get AI and I understand AI and the need for it and things like that. But come on, you guys. I mean, surely there's enough AI, to make a person sick. And they could have done a lot better with those presentations. A lot of people were comparing, UFC Freedom 250 to the event that they had at the Sphere, where they were UFC Noche, where they were giving basically an ode to Mexico. And I didn't feel it, to be honest with you. I didn't feel it with this card because, one, AI ruined it. And two, I don't think they went as deep into it, like the cultural history in it. It was all just freaking war and sacrifices, and that's about it. It just felt like if you look at Mexico's one that the UFC put up versus the American one, there was a lot more effort and thought being put into the Mexico production. That's my opinion, anyways. Then we had O'Malley versus Zahabi. And, everybody expected Sean O'Malley to show up and show off, and that he did. Although it was a fairly early stoppage, in my opinion. But O'Malley wanted to emote. O'Malley wanted to have that walk-off KO. And he was out there saluting the troops and whatnot after, knocking Zahabi on his ass. So well done to O'Malley on that one. Then, of course, it became time for the co-main event, which was Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane. And, yeah, I don't know. Chasing greatness always carries risk, So Alex took a chance, 3-division champ, and who wouldn't? If you were in his position, you would have done the same. Now, I don't think you can necessarily go and clown on the guy because, he gave his best, but he just looked outclassed by Cyril. Maybe Cyril's just a bigger dude, and that played a big factor in it. But Alex looked that he didn't belong at heavyweight. I mean, John Jones could go from light heavyweight up to heavyweight, take care of Cyril Gane in record time, 2 minutes, and actually sub him. And that's why John Jones is known as the GOAT, right? The greatest of all time. So there's no disputing that, and the reasons why. Because John is just next level. We know Cyril commits a lot of fouls, and that he did, but he would have beat Alex on the night anyways, in my opinion. But man, that main event, all of the fights could have been terrible, but that main event would have made up for all of it, because that was exactly what I wanted in a fight. As a fan, that fight was epic. It had it all. It had the action. It had the back and forth. It had the blood, the violence, everything. Just not the guy that I wished to have won. Justin Gaethje just proved to everyone why he is considered one of the best at lightweight. Now imagine that. He went 5 rounds with Paddy Pimblett, and Topuria unfortunately couldn't answer the bell for the 5th. That sucks. But I really hope we didn't see the last of Ilia. He's got so much more to give, man. And this guy's an absolute dog. He really made that a dog fight. And there was no quit. He's got massive heart as well. So who did you guys probably rooted, will probably be contrary to who I was rooting for, but I don't know whether you guys felt the same, or whether or not you guys maybe felt that, Ilia was overrated and Alex had no business going up to heavyweight. But I'd like to hear your thoughts, because do you think like the UFC Freedom 250 event was all that it was made out to be? Or did it live up to the hype? Yes or no? That's my thoughts on the event anyways. And in between as well, some things, honorable mentions, if you will. Tyson Fury had a walkout. Tyson Fury, the boxer, had a walkout at the UFC Freedom 250 event, took up some valuable airtime just to walk down, have an interview, and when asked about having some big announcement, the dude just literally said, I'll let Dana deal with that. I was like, what is that all about? They could have at least maybe had Conor in there, or, had Sean Strickland be part of the broadcast, but obviously Sean Strickland got arrested on the night as he crashed a fan fest party gathering, and they said no, that Sean Strickland will basically cause a ruckus and he has to be escorted out of there. So it's a crazy world, man. So Tyson Fury was there. They had a promo for Conor McGregor and Max Holloway. And it was so cringy, man. I could see that Max was trying to laugh the whole time. It's your Joe Rogan in the middle, and your Conor to your left, and your Max to your right. And they were talking and Conor was doing his usual thing of he's gonna school Max and he's gonna son him and what. Obviously, just driving some entertainment value or generate some interest for the fight. But Max was sitting there yeah, we'll see. I'm surprised he didn't say, yeah, we'll see Saturday, man. It's you know what I'm talking about, right? It's yeah, I guess we'll see. No, but it's going to be a good fight. But I don't see Conor winning that fight either. I think if anything this UFC Freedom 250 card has shown us, it's that time is undefeated in terms of look at Chandler. Chandler should have given up. Sorry. Before you guys roast me in the comments, there was another fight. It was Derek Lewis versus Josh Hokett. And you guys would know that I'm not the biggest Hokett fan, but Derek Lewis was just plodding all over the place. Literally a walking punching bag. And Hokett got him out of there, second round? And as I mentioned, Father Time is undefeated, and time will show us things. Derek should also not be fighting anymore. Screw that, man. I was he had no sense of urgency or no willingness to finish the fight. Like, you could watch it and he's just like, he looks out of place. I believe he just came in for a paycheck and that's about it. But yeah, that's me. Got on the microphone, Josh, after his victory, called Michelle Obama a man. Can you believe it? He's like, done with the speech and whatnot, done with the character, and he's like, yeah, shout out to Donald Trump and all that. And Michelle Obama is a man. That was quite funny. Use that for clip farming. But to my point, I think Max is going to make easy work of Conor McGregor. As much as I love Conor McGregor. I hope that I'm wrong. I would hope that I'm wrong. Because who doesn't love Conor McGregor, right? But guess we'll see. Guess we'll see. Right, Max? Guess we'll see on Saturday. Yeah. But yeah, all in all, my rating for this card, UFC Freedom 250, I'll give it a 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. And a lot of that has to do with the main and the co-main event of the night. They really brought it home. I was not a fan of the early finishes and of the beginning of the fights. I feel they could have made tougher matchups, but they obviously had their favorites that they wanted to have, show off on the night. So yeah, there's that. But all in all, a great event. Don't know which card is going to top this in terms of spectacle and maybe hype, but yeah, we'll see. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as me. And if you guys have any comments relating to the fight card, please drop them below. God bless.